Hello everybody, welcome to Bish's RV. My name is Josh the RV Nerd. We're hanging out in the Coldwater, Michigan backlot of my hometown store today, or as I like to call it, Uncle Josh's private reserve, taking a look at a Cougar 27 SGS. And this is the answer to the question, how small, how short, how light can we make a well-built fifth wheel with opposing big living room slides and a lot of window coverage? This is what you find here. Now, their 25th anniversary exterior updates on this looking absolutely phenomenal, but it's a little bit more than just skin deep. They did a couple really key clutch detail things. They've swapped out now to a tankless on-demand water heater, so no more chilly willy cold showers if you're taking a couple back-to-back. Also, Goodyear tires now standard with optional TPMS if you want to also add that onto there. Keystone's still pretty much leading the way on the solar front as well. One of the only things that I would personally do differently on the exact RV that we're looking at today, I would go with Keystone's 400 solar package as opposed to the 200, but I'm mostly a park camping Midwestern boy, so this would suit me just fine as well. 12 volt or two-way fridge, we have carpetless slides, we've got a different kind of air conditioning system where they use a different sort of ductwork that keeps the noise down, but also with a residential air filtration system to keep kind of the particles in the air out of the air. 0 to 110 degree rated is also another one of those really, really awesome qualities that goes into these Cougars. And they do carry warranty with allowances for full-time RVing, which is pretty fantastic. And I'm going to show you the good, the bad, with the ugly, with everything in between, because this floor plan has a couple of both. Like, I'll volunteer one right away here. It's got very limited awning space, but overall, if what you're looking for is nice space when you get there, but short length getting there, this one brings a lot of advantages. But before we get too far along, I want to kind of stop the presses and talk something, putting your safety before the sale. I'll try to keep this brief, like a pair of underwear. If you look at the nose cap of this, although the sunlight is kind of washing it out right now, it says Cougar half ton. That is the name of the RV. That is not necessarily a guaranteed designation that every half ton will be able to handle this one. Long story short, this one has enough hitch weight empty that by the time you put cargo in it and you load yourselves into your vehicle and the weight of the hitch in the vehicle, almost all half tons, their payload capacities will be exceeded, making this not a good fit for most half ton pickups. And airbags do not actually change your payload rating. So that is I want to just kind of get that up front out of the way. And that might be an instant deal breaker for some folks, I get it. But if you appreciate how we put safety before the sale and show you the ups and the downs, make sure you hit that subscribe button or like our video. Or, hey, just maybe leave us a little note saying, hey, thanks, I didn't know that or whatever. Enough of that, let's get inside. And something I've always liked on this one, some RVs have windows over here on the door side that we're looking at. Some have these big, awesome panoramic picture windows overlooking the backside of your site. And I'll tell you what, out here on the back lot with that greenery in the background, man, this is looking smexy attractive. I ought to try to pull this stunt off more often. But also, we've got windows over here on the driver's side. There's windows all the way around this thing on the back. You've got like 180 degrees of viewing off the back of this RV in the sides. Not to mention the bedroom's got a big window, and the entry door has a full viewing window with a privacy shade, mind you. It's got a ton of glass and a lot of class, and something you don't find in a lot of RVs today, an actual set of recliners, of just like free floating recliners. Notice little carpet squares under them. That's pretty much the only carpet in the lower deck of this thing. Just so that if you wanted to scoot those chairs around, you could do so without kind of scraping up your flooring. Now, speaking of that, over in the slides, what you'll find is not carpet, but like a marine woven kind of material. And up top here, I mentioned they're using a different kind of air conditioner. Keystone calls it their Blade Pure air conditioning system because, you know, you got to have a name for it. But long story short, what they do is they have more vents with these little like cyclone style covers on them. And what that does is it pulls more air out of those vents more quickly. And since there's more vents, there's less individual air disturbance. If you're familiar with this concept, like I have a background playing music a little bit, hack amateur guitarist, don't get me wrong. Rhythm guitarist, not a cool lead guitarist, not anything cool like that. But what I'm getting at is if you want to keep the volume up but not hurt somebody's ears, one of the tricks that you can kind of do is basically have more speakers with less volume. And that's what's happening with the air conditioning system. So it's not a specific whisper ducted air, but It will significantly drown out and reduce the noise in the RV, and it has like a residential air filtration system on it, which is cool. Now, right now we're looking at the freestanding table and chairs. We're going to see a couple other cool things because that's a no-knee knocker diner, which I really, really enjoy. You can actually still get this with a booth dinette. So I'd be kind of curious to know as we go, you know, would you prefer a booth? Would you prefer the table and chairs? We're looking at the 12-volt compressor fridge today. Would you prefer that or the 8 cubic foot fridge? And which of their solar packages, 200, 400, 600, would kind of, you know, trip your trigger on one of these guys right chow? Now, what's also cool about this is about as small as you can reasonably make a fifth wheel that also has, like, basically 2 reclining seats, a guest hide-a-bed, a decent kitchen, although pretty compact kitchen, admittedly. They really did shove a lot into that little corner over there, and some kind of dedicated dining table. Anything smaller than this, and you start making some level of accommodation. Not that it's typically bad or anything, mind you. One of the interesting things here, if we get right over here and take a look at that big 4K entertainment center, you can see how that can pivot around, and there's some storage behind it. Easy viewing anywhere in the living cavity. Now, I won't tell you how tricky it was to try to stack those chairs up in a way that they didn't fall down, but also still showcase the fact that there's storage in those seats. But there's a reason I don't do it very often. And again, whether you get the booth or the table and chairs, you get a no-knee knocker dinette. We have blackout roller shades, those dual recliners, the trifold sleeper sofa over here, so if you do have some kind of guests, or what if one of you happens to snore a bunch? I mean, that's a very real thing that many households have to deal with, and sometimes it's kind of nice to maybe have 2 separated sleeping spaces with an actual closing door between you. Or, of course, you know, you could use that for big dogs, guests, etc. In the, I call it Little Cat Cougar series that we're looking at right now, you'll have sealed edge thermal foil countertops. When we get up to Big Cat Cougar, which they don't make this floor plan, you'll see like solid surface. There's not a whole lot of difference between Big Cat and Little Cat. Now, if somebody is sitting at that left-hand chair as we're staring at it, yeah, their head could kind of be in the way of the table, or of the television. But I think for the most part, this being more of a couples-oriented model, I don't think that's going to be like an everyday, regular kind of occurrence thing. And I think that if you have some guests, for the most part, they might be inclined to sit over here at the sofa in this little kind of direct next to you conversation space, you know? And I don't know that, you know, blocking the TV is going to be too much of an issue. Not to mention, don't forget the fact that that can pivot out a little bit to kind of, you know, get people, to get it out of the way of people, as it were. Now, you see how that window there opens for airflow? Well, you'll find that most of the windows in this RV open for airflow. Surprisingly, 2 of the only windows in this that don't open for airflow are the ones over here beside the recliners where I'm sitting right now. Now, we've got breeze behind us. We have breeze across from us. There's still breeze going all the way through this thing. But I'm not going to just gloss over it because it's not cute and convenient. I will always do my best to give you, you know, fair info, positive, negative. I'm just going to tell you what is, what isn't, and then you decide if it's good, bad, and you tell me in the comment section. And just to kind of complete the visual, just so you can see the other side, but one other thing I want to show you while you're sitting right here. So the entry door is all the way up front in the RV, right? That's where your in-command panel is. That's where you can turn the lights on and off. Well, you could turn them on and off on your phone if you wanted to with their app, but you don't have to, because directly above our head, it helps if you got long arms like mine. There is a living room light switch right up here. So you don't ever have to go, like, get up and down and walk clear across the RV to turn that off. And did you notice that above the dinette, I had dimmed those lights? There's a cool little dimmer slider right over here as well. So working our way upstairs here, past the entry door. I mentioned the entry door does have a full privacy shade. Word is Cougar is working with their supplier to get that to pull from the bottom up to maintain max privacy. That is based almost exclusively on your feedback on these videos. So folks, when I ask those questions, please keep it coming. Our in-command panel, again, you don't have to walk over here to turn the lights off, but by the door it is nice. And 8675309. I saw that name and number on a wall once, and I just wondered if that might work. Regardless, moving over here, we got ourselves in the bathroom a big old Lipitorage storage galorage cabinet, not just a mirror on the wall. Sink looks a little funny off to the side. A lot of people have actually commented and said, hey, I actually have something like that, and it works, frankly, just fine for me. One of the things I want to show you, though, is there's some pretty good storage going on below the sink. You got triple drawers to the floors, as well as a space for like a little wastebasket. You know, maybe one of those where you might use like a Walmart bag as a trash liner. Very fluffy, friendly porcelain foot flush stool as well. And you see that it does come with that handy dandy, oh my gosh, it's an emergency grab handle above your head. Although, word is you could also use that to hold towels, I guess. I don't know, that's weird. Linen cabinet over here actually split kind of top to bottom. So you might use like one side for toiletries, toilet paper, whatever, you know, load up the butt napkins. And one of the things I really, really like about Cougars, in their showers, they're nice and tall. Actually, the whole upper deck is about, what, 6'5", 6'6", something like that. So it is very comfortably sized in here. And with the little corner seat in the shower, Uncle Gary's got the perfect place to sit down and shave them shins. Now, up here in the bedroom, remember how I said the work Cougar's doing has been heavily influenced by your feedback? I'm going to need a bit of your feedback again here in a moment. But first and foremost, I want to mention these are 15,000 BTU standard air conditioning systems. They're also 50 amp standard fifth wheel RVs. So they all come prepped and ready for the second air if it's not already installed. I've asked the question enough. I get the idea now that our Texas friends, yeah, you want that second air conditioner literally 137% of the time. This right here, this is why I want your feedback. This is a Camp Queen, which is, it feels very odd. There's plenty of room in here. You can always hot swap it for a true Queen. But what would you say to the idea of Cougar just doing it straight from the factory level? That's the bit of input I would like to get from you on this one. I also, real quick before we open the storage in here, I want to give them some credit. Well done maintaining those blackout roller shades even all the way up here in the bedroom with that giant, like, big window overlooking your campsite on this one, which is really nice. So good windows in the living room and in the bedroom. Storage. You know what? Let's start right here. Let's take a look under the bed. There's a tiny little bump as you walk up to the bedroom space, but there's not the big giant ankle breaker death step like there used to be, you know. That's kind of a nice thing. And you see that you've got both dresser and closet storage space over there in that slide out. Now, just before, speaking of slides, we're going to close that in a second, but I do want to let you know you do have TV hookups over here on the wall opposing the bedroom. What's also nice, something I haven't talked about, you see those outlets on either side of the bedstand? Every single Keystone Cougar has at least like 5 to 7 outlets with those yellow stickers on them, which is indicating that that is actually prepped and run to the, like an inverter loop. So even here in the most basic solar package, it still has some level of inverter prep, which is very cool. Now, one of the great qualities of a north-south bed with just a closet slide like this is there's zero question as to whether you can or cannot access and use the bed in transit. You flat out can. Just make sure you don't donkey kick the wardrobe mirrors over there. Now, a couple little things here you're going to see. Like, you might have noticed how the shower door is now on the other side. That's where the lock is for transit. Make sure you secure that thing. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a big old pile of broken safety glass on the floor. I've had to clean up a few of those in my time. Usually, sadly, folks who are like really excited about completing their trade-in, and they're really too eager to get to the dealership, and they forget to kind of go through the checklist. Now, the thing is, bedroom and bathroom, you're napping crap accessible, but you have basically exactly zero snacktastic function in this one. And make sure you turn and secure those recliners before transit so they don't get caught behind the slide fascia, because then you have to do the Dukes of Hazzard yeehaw and climb over the countertop to get back there and free those things up. Not impossible, just not fun. And if you appreciate the way we take the time to close these things up and show you around, hit that subscribe button if you're new with us, and let's step outside. Now, I didn't dislike the look of these last year, but I don't think they look that good. I like the new 25th anniversary look on these. And while I'm drooling over the look of this, let's take a second look at some of the specs there. By the way, I've started doing that just kind of as a random thought lately. Do you folks like it when I drop the specs in the video a second time as we step outside? Is that useful? Is that beneficial? Or am I just wasting my time I could spend elsewhere? Again, you guide this channel, you let me know. I do again recommend 3/4 ton is my general suggestion for this, although you got to be careful. There's actually some 3/4 tons with some very limited payload ratings. Now, before I forget, because I happen to do that a lot, let's take a look in that front storage compartment and then the driver's side storage compartment. I have a bad habit of forgetting in there. Now, you notice how they store that spare tire inside? The new tankless on-demand water heater for 2023 is something I think is very, very cool. Again, if you're, using a lot of hot water in the kitchen, taking showers back to back, nobody has to end up taking a cold shower or anything. In the pass-through, you also see the components there, the Victron charge controller. And today we're just looking at the base 200-watt, solar flex package. Every single Keystone comes with at least 200 watts of solar and a 15-amp MPPT Victron charge controller. And I stress MPPT versus PWM because basically it... easiest way I can say this without getting super down a rabbit hole is that it captures otherwise lost juice and just pushes more lightning into your batteries. That's the simplest way I can say it that's kind of technically-ish correct. Anyway, the slam latches, magnet holdbacks, I think Cougar might have been the very first in this class doing that. But again, being fair, it's got very limited awning space. That is just kind of the catch-22 of this camper. There's no ability to throw a second awning on the face of that slide. So how do you work around that? Well, my recommendation is in that big giant belly pass-through that we saw over here off the face of that slide. Get you some kind of 10 by 10 easy up room or something like that. And then you have a nice little, screen room away from all the various skeeters and critters and all kinds of things. And the fact that I just threw a skeeters out there tells you that I actually do have a decent amount of hillbilly DNA floating around in me that pops its head out every now and then. I also won't claim to be some kind of worldly individual or anything. I'm a simple dude. Anyway, I'm a t-shirts and jeans kind of guy. What do we want to talk about here? How about the fact that on the back of this thing, we have a factory installed, for lack of a better phrase, towing package, where you actually do have a 3,000 pound rated towing hitch with safety chain hooks and 4-way wiring harness. So if you want to hook a little trailer up to this thing, you absolutely could. Then weaving our way around the corner here a little further, we also see that this RV has a, kind of built-on stinky, slinky sewer caddy there. But what's going on in the underbelly? Now, that really almost deserves its own time and attention. Because what Cougar's doing down below the skirt line is they put a lot of effort into that, but you can't see any of it. So a lot of brands have a heated underbelly that is enclosed. Use a radiant barrier. Cougar does all that. They have standard thermostatic 12-volt tank heaters. And if you don't know what that means, it means you can set it and forget it like Ron Popeil. You can turn them on and, if it's 60, 70 degrees out or a hot day like today, they won't even bother kicking on. But if the temperature drops below 40 degrees in that belly cavity, because there's a temp sensor down there, well, then the tank heaters will kick on to help keep your tanks protected. Cougar has independently tested every single one of their floor plans for 0 to 110 degree comfortability. What that means is that at those temperatures, nothing in the underbelly will freeze and you'll maintain a reasonable cabin temperature during that time. Now, to get up to that 110, yeah, you're probably looking at the second air conditioner versus the standard one, but again, that's a very real possibility. Our hot climate campers, my Texas friends, I know that you'd put 4 air conditioners on this thing if you had the ability. Oh God, don't give the manufacturers an idea. They might come up with something crazy. I could see a brand like Alliance doing that. Regardless, neither here nor there. The thing is though, in the underbelly, not only do they just have a direct heat dump into that belly, but every single holding tank also has its own individual direct forced air heat line on it. And all of the water lines that run through the underbelly, they actually run right alongside those heat runs. So that basically the little bit of heat spillage that's lost out of those is helping protect the water lines themselves. Now, I can't guarantee anything the manufacturer hasn't. Like, I can't guarantee that below 0 degrees this thing will continue to function without freezing up. What I can tell you is that we've had a couple nasty polar vortex winters in Michigan, and we've had some Cougar owners who at first thought their water lines freezed up because they were full-timing in Michigan in the winter, and it actually got so cold the frost line in the ground went below and froze the plumbing in the ground. Nothing in the RV actually failed, and when the ground warmed back up, water service resumed. Now, I can't guarantee that you'd find the same results, but I've heard that more than once. This is a brand that absolutely gets the job done. Way, way better than industry standard. But at the end of the day, I think my takeaway from this floor plan is that it's really fulfilled the role in the Cougar lineup of like an in-betweener, where it's not too big, but still gives you that big living space. But what if you do want a little more space? Take a look at the 29 RLI Cougar. I think you're gonna like what you see. That gives you true super slides that are opposing. Island kitchen, very traditional floor plan, but done very, very well. Maybe one of the best done out there in that class. And if you want a little bit smaller, maybe you wanna maintain that factory towing hitch on the back, and you wanna take down some length, they got a couple of them. Actually, they have 2. Thingamabobs, I've got 20. Name that reference. I don't know why that popped in my head over here. But the 24 RDS and the new 23 MLS, which I'm stating right now, by the end of next year, I predict that will be the #1 selling Cougar fifth wheel out there. But that's not what this is about. You let me know what you like and dislike about this one. I've done my best to kind of share my insights and my thoughts on it, but I'm no authority. I don't always, my word ain't the law on this stuff. Let me know what you think about it. Good, bad, ugly, or in between. And as always, if you're kind of curious to know where we have one of these parked and what we're asking, check that link up there in the video description. Well, actually, down there in the video description. I'm just pointing where it'll, hopefully I remember to edit the stuff on screen. I always fall apart at the end of my videos. Squirrel. Anyway, we have these at several different stores, and they can be equipped very, very differently. And the pricing on these could vary by like upwards of 8 to 10 grand. So there's no rough generalized price range I can give you. So we put individualized pricing with no hidden fees right on our website. Apologies for the convenience. We just put that right out there. When you're ready, we're ready, and we'd love to work with you. And in the meantime, thanks for hanging out in the back lot today. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.